Chapter 26. A real cat might have wandered away in the night, but Anevi was still there when I woke up and pulled up the black curtain. She even stretched like a cat and was still for a moment, looking around, remembering where she was. "What are those?" she asked, taking in one decoration in the room. "Our handprints, mine and my sister's." "I don't have sisters." I wanted to smooth her rumpled hair, but I didn't. I'd never seen Anevi touch someone that way, gently. She always played so rough. "Anevi, what did you bring from home?" She paused for a minute. "I won a race once, best in the school, even better than the older boys. They gave me a medal for it." Something in my core went warm and cold at once. "Congratulations." "Thanks. I wish they had races here for us." "You should tell the examiner. I bet she'd like that idea." "The who?" "The examiner." "Who?" "You know, the woman in charge." "Miss Marcuson?" Was that her name? I must have missed it when she introduced herself to the children lined up for the test, because I was late talking with Cammy, and she must have told my parents when she was taking away their daughter. I hadn't been listening. "Why do you call her that?" Anevi asked. "Because she gave us the examination, I guess." And she had been examining us ever since. Anevi stayed quietly beside me for our morning walk, but she left to eat with Tommy, who had come to breakfast with us after an overnight shift, and Hamlin. I peeled my boiled egg slowly and ate it with big gulps of milk between bites. Thoughts of going to talk to Raynor seemed like entering the bad dream. But after breakfast, I marched myself to the second floor, unlocked the door, and entered. His paintings, now dry and warped, lay between the fencing. When I slid them to my side, they crinkled and cracked. Raynor sat, knees up, in his own corner, his breakfast untouched. He, too, had a boiled egg, though his glass was filled with water rather than milk. Milk was for children, especially these days. Even the eggs seemed generous, as there weren't a lot of those either. Generous to give a prisoner, the enemy. Dark circles surrounded Raynor's eyes, as if he had been up the whole night crying, as if his dreams had been as colored by the paintings as mine had been. But that wasn't right. The paintings hadn't colored his dreams. His dreams colored the paintings. He wasn't much older than Tommy, after all. "You should eat your egg," I said. He looked at me. "You should eat your egg." He picked it up, cradling it, warm and smooth, in his hands. Then he gave it a brisk knock on the floor and started peeling it. He made it last 6 bites and finished up with a swallow of water. I studied his paintings. Something that looked like a house appeared in many of them. "Is that your house?" I asked. He didn't answer. That wouldn't have made sense for it to be his house. If he had been fighting on the ground. "Were you in the Skavenlands?" He knew I was there. Of course he did. He had eaten the egg when I told him to. It was the opposite. He was making a point of knowing I was there, but choosing not to acknowledge me, which was an acknowledgement in itself. He lowered his head, still making as if he was ignoring me. My own dreams wouldn't go away. Chasing and failing to catch. Father. Mother, Cammy, and Ty, Megs, all twisted red and black and gray, as if burnt. I wandered a road through blackened trees or hollow shells of buildings back on the bombed streets of Lickaleg, looking for a house which didn't seem to be anywhere. I went to see Raynor a few times, but we didn't speak. I stopped going so much. I trailed through the living room instead. Brid and Kylan asked me to sit with them, but one afternoon Kylan slid my papers back in front of her when I was staring into space instead of marking them. She also finished my dinner for me when I couldn't eat it. The next morning I plopped onto a couch in the living room, not even pretending to do anything. Gunnar eventually came over. "Matil?" I stared at him. "Lickleg was okay last night." I rested my head back on the armrest. "Do you want to come help us?" He stood there waiting for me to answer. "No," I yelled, sitting up. "I don't want to talk about who's being bombed." Gunnar walked away. When he returned, he had the examiner with him. She sat down next to me on the couch and felt my forehead. "Thank you, Gunnar," she said. He went back to his group and sat down. Did you find out something? No. Are you sure? Something's changed. Something's upset you. I didn't know if it was the kind of information she wanted, but it was the only thing I could think of. I got Raynor to paint. She raised her eyebrows. I brought the paintings to the examiner's office. She looked me over carefully, fixing on my face. Could she see the dark circles under my eyes? I must have had them when she met me at the school, and when I arrived here. They faded, only to reappear. When she was done looking me over, she turned to the paintings. Thank you very much, she said, as if I had just given her a thoughtful birthday present, one that touched her. There's a house, or something, a building, that shows up again and again. Yes, I see. Do you know anything more about it? No. Maybe you could find out. And also, what his mission in Soferand was. I sighed. I can try. Are you sure you're well, Mathilde? Yes, I said, but my voice did not come out very strong.